What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages? Um, this is Saturday. I wanted to come in and try to do something, talk to everybody on Saturday. If people want to talk and kind of do something live, almost like a little live podcast in a way, but not in a way. But the reason I want to come in and talk to everybody, you consider the title, we're going to be talking about buying land, something I've been very intrigued by for some years now. And the reason why is that first, what caught me onto land was that first I inherited land, supposedly, right? So, and I'm going to kind of get into that topic. I'm going to get into the topic of buying land, inheritance of land, all of the good stuff, and how the inheritance kind of just turned crazy and just pretty much turned worthless. So, start out with good intentions, but ended up worthless to the people that inherited it. So the first thing is when I look across the world of investing, there's only four ways. Either you're investing into a business, which is your business, somebody else's business. You are doing something in the stocks. You're doing something in real estate, or you're doing something with yourself. Everything can be boiled down to those four things, right? And the intriguing part about land, and the thing that I like about is land is one of those things that one you always hear they're not making any more of it. Everything that we consume and make comes from the land. So, for prime example, you take this house for example. It's made out of wood. So, where did the wood come from? What are the things that came from that? You know, the oil, the cotton of this shirt. The ring on my finger. Where all that stuff comes from? It comes from some form of land. But to me, it seems that land, not all land, but majority of land is just people don't regard it as much. So most people are so concerned about what's on the land versus the land itself. So the thing about buying land is that if your house was to burn down, they can rebuild a house, right? So the most valuable asset is the land. Everything what we eat comes from the ground. What we drink, not everything, but what we're supposed to drink, like water and things like that, comes from the ground, or what comes from the ocean, but it comes from the ground. It's nature, right? And the tricky part about land is that to buy a house, let's say here in the Denver area, you buy a decent house, it's going to cost you $300,000 to $400,000. $300,000 to $400,000 of to purchase a house, right? So with that being said, when you look at the land, look at all the land in Colorado, look at all the land in Georgia, Mississippi, Montana, around the world that's for sale. I mean, you have land out here that's practically dirt cheap that nobody wants, that nobody desires. So it's land out here you can buy for one, two, three, four, five, six, $7,000, $8,000 or whatnot. Oh, Gary Wilder says, "What's up? Much love from Maryland. Maryland, in the house. What's going on, Gary?" So the thing about it is that when you purchase a house, are you really purchasing the house for most people? No. Most people are getting a 30-year commitment or 20 or 15-year commitment. In most cases, a 30-year commitment to a house. Is a house a great asset? Yes. But most people say, "Hey, man, I just purchased my first house," or whatever. And I tell people all the time, if you don't pay the mortgage for 6 months, you're going to find out who really owns that house, which is probably not going to be you, which is going to be the bank or your lender. But with land is going for one, two, three, four, $5,000, something that's very obtainable for an everyday person to be able to go out and purchase. So, and when you purchase it, you have the deed. It is you get the deed to the land. Now you're available for. You have to pay the property tax, but I'm very intrigued about the concept of land because it's a raw asset. For prime example, the only tricky part about buying land is scams and schemes. How do you know the person that's selling you the land actually owns the land? How do you know the person that's selling you the land has the right to be able to sell you the land? How do you know the person that owns the land that it's not taxes involved, there's not a tax lien on it, all of the good stuff like that? But I want to tell you a couple quick workarounds that I've learned by going through the process. So, number one, the number one way to be able to tell if you own land or if you own something is taxes. If you're not getting tax documents, that means that you probably don't own that entity or that property. If I went out and someone sold me some land, they gave me a deed, and come March, August, February timeframe, when it's time to pay the taxes, and they don't send a letter to my house and say, "Hey, Prince Dykes, you owe taxes on this land," then that's a red flag. The taxes is the number one way to find out if you own something, or to find out if something legitimately is yours. Because if you're getting the taxes from the state or the county or the IRS or whatnot, that means that they're acknowledging you, the county with the records are acknowledging you as the landowner. So that's one of the biggest ways to be able to tell. Because when I was going down this path, I was worried about, hey, who owns this taxes? How do I know I really own this land? Somebody just gave me a piece of paper. Yes, you can do a title search. Yes, you can go to the county courthouse. Yes, you can hire a lawyer, all that stuff like that. But the number one common sense way is the tax documents. If your name is not on the tax documents, if they're not writing and asking you about the tax documents, you probably don't own that particular land. So that was one of the ways that I learned quick to pass out there for people who may look to owning land, that they could actually know who's owning land or whatnot, right? So those are things to be mindful of when you're purchasing it. So the thing about it too is the maintenance. If you go out and buy a flat piece of land with nothing on it, you know what the maintenance is? You don't care if deer's living on it. You don't care if a homeless person's living on it. You don't care if trees are growing on it. You don't have to worry about they're hiring a property manager. You don't have to worry about anything. The only thing you got to worry about is giving Uncle Sam his cut. That's it. The property tax. Long as you pay the property tax, it is yours. It's yours. It's in your name. It's an asset that you can pass down. It's a hard asset. For prime example, when you're making your financial statement of your house or business or whatnot, when you're making a financial statement, you're telling the raw assets that the company has or your house have. And with land, one, you can live on it. Two, you can grow on it. Three, you never know what that area may turn into. It could turn into something good where it's being people are using the land, or it could turn something bad if somebody builds a landfill where the land would lose value. So you have so many ways and so many things that you can do things to process the land. So that's something I've been very intrigued by, as of late, and that I actually, when I made a move on, purchased my first property, first piece of land. I won't say a property, just a piece of, it's a, it was just a field, right? And you know what? It reminds me of when I was a kid. My mom brought. I remember once when I was a kid, I probably was, I don't know, somewhere between probably where my son is at now, 8 or 9 years old. And she took me. She was like, "Hey, me and your dad purchased land when you was born, and I want to show it to you." And she drove me out to this land, and this land was completely trees. I mean, it was nothing. It was a forest. It was like, she's like, "Okay, well, this is the land." I was like, "Where?" She was like, "All of that on back." I'm like, it was 2 acres of land, but it was just all like trees. And I'm like, "What is this? What are you showing me?" But by the time I had turned about 9 or 10 years old, they had cleaned off that land. They knocked down all the trees, and that's where they built their first house. They cleaned off the land. They knocked down all the trees and sold the trees, and build their first house. And now it's like 3 houses on that particular property. So when I go home now at the age of 34, I remember being a little boy at 8 when my mom first showed me that land, and it was just pretty much a field. So you never know what can happen. I'm going to drive my son down and show him, the land I brought him for his birthday, to say, "Hey, look, this is yours." I'm like, "What is this? This is a field with a mountain in the background. Nothing is out here." And who knows, 26, 25 years from now, what that land may be worth. It could be worth something or not. But even if it's not worth anything, it can be used as collateral in the business. It could be used as collateral in a business deal or a business loan, things like that. You can put up land or whatnot. It's an asset. So, and that's what we're all about on the show, on the Investor Show. So, and the thing about it is when one, now granted, a house usually would appreciate faster than a piece of land in the middle of nowhere, but it's almost like a forceful saving, right? When you forcefully save, From what I mean by forcefully saving is when you like right now, everybody gets paid. You're supposed to put back $50 out of a paycheck, $100 out of a paycheck. It may be a little difficult. You may not be that honest with yourself. But when you have gone out and purchased land, you're more likely to pay for that particular land. And when you pay for that particular land, you're more likely to pay the monthly payment if you financed it, right? So, and once you pay it off, let's say if you pay 3,000, 4,000, it's almost like a little savings account, right? Okay, Young Boss Network. Shouldn't the seller have tax documents to show at the time of sale? Yes, right. But how do you know those tax documents are real, right? At the time of sale, they'll show you a warranty, they'll show you the deed, they'll show you the tax documents or whatnot. But when you call the courthouses and things like that, how do you know those documents are real? How do you know somebody didn't doctor them? Things like that. So number one way people can do is title search companies out there. Companies that do title searches for you, do the research on the land. They charge about $300, right? Now the next issue is if you pay someone, if you pay them cash, credit card, however you pay them, once you pay them, how do you know the person is going to write the deed to you, give you all the documentations you're supposed to have, the tax documents? Because they have to put all that stuff from their name into your name. And you know how it is. People get their money. That's when people get funny on you. Once you pay for something, that's when it's, man, I was sick and this. They disappear on you, all that type of stuff. So that's when you can use a real estate company to kind of like be a escrow, or you can hire somebody to be an escrow to handle the closing. And the closer, pretty much you put your money into the closing account, the escrow account. And once the seller has provided all the documents, then that person can release the money. But that costs us. Let's say if the land is going to cost you $3,000. While you're getting title searches and escrows, that's another $1,000 in fees. So that $3,000 piece of land you purchased has now gone to $4,000, has increased by 25%. Your investment has increased 25%. Now, a little workaround that I heard people say that I thought was pretty clever was what they do is they purchase the land on a particular credit card, right? Why do they purchase on a credit card? Because they know that if something is funny, something is not going right, they can then turn around and make the land, not turn around, but they can then turn around and reverse the payment. They can dispute the payment, right? So for prime example, if you give someone 30 days, you buy the land, hey, 30 days, give me the deed, give me the tax documents, all the records, and I want all this stuff notarized. That's a big key. Make sure everything is notarized. I want notarized documents. I want all the tax documents mailed to me within 30 days after this purchase, right? And you put that in writing beforehand. And once that comes back to you, you don't get it within 30 days. You can't find the person or whatever the case may be. You have no problem with reversing the payment. Versus if you just paid somebody and gave them the money, now you can't find them. Then you couldn't find out they're this and that, and you gave them cash, and it may be kind of hard to track your money down. Maybe a little bit strenuous, right? So that's one way that you can put on a credit card and hold it on the credit card until once you get all the documents, then you just pay the credit card off. Or another smart thing to do is don't buy the land in cash. You go out, let's say if you got $3,000, you want to purchase for a piece of land in Montana for an acre, 2 acres, or whatnot, right? You take the $3,000 and you go borrow from the bank the money. Once the bank lends you the money, take out a personal loan, you take the $3,000, you pay for the $3,000 cash. They give you all the documentations, right? Once you then have all the documentations, now you pay back the loan over 6 to 7 months. Since you already had it in cash anyway, you can pay that back over 6 to 7 months. Not only did you purchase an asset, a piece of land, it also goes on your credit report, credit score, because that's how you meet so many millionaires and athletes and people who have millions and made millions of dollars go broke, not go broke, but have very low credit scores because they never use credit. They pay for everything cash. So one of the ways to kind of utilize credit, maybe you take out a little small loan, you purchase a piece of land, you pay back the loan. Now you have accumulated an asset and you have utilized your credit. So That's one of the ways to kind of look at it with buying the land thing and things like that. Because at the end of the day, it's just a piece of paper. So, and the maintenance is very low. You don't have to worry about if I had a rental property in Georgia, I would have to worry about a tenant being there. Are there good tenants, property managers, natural disasters, hurricanes, all that good stuff like that. Yes, if you had a natural disaster, yes, you can utilize insurance, but you may have to go a while without having a tenant. So I don't know if you may have an insurance for that, but it's a lot of things that got to go into it. But if you have a uh, but with a piece of land, think about it. In Denver, once I drive outside of Denver, it's complete fields until you get to Colorado Springs, and it's one or two cities, but it's most a lot of mountains and fields, just like it is in Georgia. And the thing I like about Colorado, we look at the property tax. The state that has the lowest property tax is Hawaii. Shockingly, but it's Hawaii. Number two was Alabama. Number three, I want to say was DC, if I'm not mistaken, and number four was Colorado. Right. So I look at the property tax. So Colorado is one of the top four in the lowest property tax. So I look at the property tax and look at all these fields. Look at Montana, Kansas, upstate New Jersey, all these pockets of places that are just buying land. Travel with Aaron says buying land and renting it with a Airbnb is great. That's true too. Can you rent just an open field with somebody if you just had a plain land by itself? You know, 1 second. So, I don't know if you can do that with just open land, right? But yes, we can. If you can, you can. That's another thing you can do. You can rent it out. You can start a farm and produce goods and then sell them. You can start a farm. You can start a ranch. You can do all types of things. Even though I'm not a handy guy. I'm not that country to where I can start a whole farm. But that's something you can do. Okay, travel with Aaron. I have homes I rent on Airbnb and have a boat slip and rent my boat on the slip. Oh yeah, I definitely heard about that. That's smart. Definitely buying it. That's an asset. Event coach, maybe for an event. I always thought it was houses. You can rent houses. Yeah, that's true too. Yvette, you're 100% right about that. You can rent it. Just like anything, you go buy a house and you can rent out a house and things like that. But the reason why I'm speaking about this is that most people that purchase houses, just be honest, the average American makes about what $50,000 a year. The average household income, depending on where you live, $56,000 a year. Does it make sense for you can most people purchase a $500,000 house, $400,000 house? According, yeah, they give it to you. Yeah, travel Aaron, definitely. Get an LLC. You can purchase the land under the LLC. Smart way too. I can't even say that. What is that? Yusuf Ben, how is it going? You helped me out a lot starting to invest. That's good, man. Glad I can help you started with investing. So yes, that's exactly what we're going to do, right? We can make it starting out investing, man. Great that you got stocks. I don't want to talk about stocks in this particular episode, but you have stocks out there. You have another aspect I'm looking at is business, buying a business. Dom Will, business line of credit, then what is the best way? With a business line of credit, with me, what I've learned in my experience with a business line of credit is what you have to do with a business line of credit. Here it is. You ready? I take this back to the concept of to all my biblical people out there. When did Noah build the ark? Did he build the ark when he needed it, or did he build the ark when he didn't need it? When did Noah build the ark? When he needed it or when he didn't need it? Don Will said when he needed it. That would be incorrect, right? LLJ's before, right? He built it before he needed it. Yeah, exactly. When he didn't need it, he built it when he didn't need it, right? So it's the same thing with a business. You start investing when you don't really need the money. Now you don't have to make hasty decisions. I don't have to worry about trying to make money now and tomorrow. So how does this relate to the business line of credit? With the business line of credit is most people, if I just went out here tomorrow and tried to get a business line of credit for $500,000, right? Out of the blue. People don't know who you are. People don't know what your company's about. People don't know anything about you, right? But the opposite side of the house is what you can do is the opposite side of the house. What you can do is I just got an email, guys. I'm just tell y'all this since it's live. This is live and raw. So who's heard of Red Robin's? Who's heard of Red Robin's? The burger restaurant chain? Anybody? Good brother Don Will says, here it is. So she's supposed to be coming on the show next week. I might do it live. So the CEO of Red Robin's, she just emailed me. I don't want to put her email address out there, but she just emailed me and she wants to come on to the show next week. So we're looking for her. Her name is Denny Post. Denny Post come on to the show next week. I met her last year or whatnot, and pretty cool lady. And Red Robin's headquarters is here in Denver, what I didn't know. So this lady makes millions of dollars, you know, as a CEO, runs 500 something stores around the country. She got a history with Pizza Hut. She was executive at Pizza Hut, Starbucks, all that stuff, you know. And the thing about it is, you know what, let me show y'all a picture of her. Let me show y'all a picture. I'm going to get back to business line of credit too. It's just that she just sent me a text while we were sitting here talking. This is her right here. Boom. Can y'all see that? That's me. That's when I initially met her. And cool lady. And she's coming back. She's coming back. So she's coming to the show next week. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, having her be on the show. But anyway, back to the thing. So anyway, this is what happens. So when you try to go get a business line of credit, most people look for investors because they don't believe into the crap they're telling you. You know, he said you had the kid in play. Yeah, I did too, huh? But yeah, I did cut it off. You know, it was getting a little bit too hard to maintain. It was looking a little crazy sometimes. But anyway, just want to get a little. But yeah, please continue. But anyway, most people don't believe into the crap they're telling you. So this is what they do. They want to go get a business line of credit. They want to go talk to a bank because they want them to take all the risk. What person in their right mind, you just walk into the bank, hey bank, give me $500,000 so I can go buy this company. And then if it works, I pay you back. If it don't work, then I'm sorry. Hey, I tried, right? Nobody wants to sign up to that. So they want to see, you know, who you are, your education level, how long has this business been around, business plans, all that good stuff. Dan, how are you not popular? Yeah, I don't know, man. He said, Dan, how you not popular? Oh, hey, man, you know, I don't worry about. I learned it. Let me stick on this, then I'm gonna get into the whole fame thing. I'm gonna get into that. But anyway, what happens is people. So what you need to do, start the company now. Whatever company it is, whatever LLC it is, you start it now. So once you start it now, even though you don't need the company, you don't know what it's going to be, you give it a name. Let's say if I go and start Prince Dykes LLC, and I get a business account with Bank of America, I got a business account or whatnot. I put a couple dollars in it. Then, you know, I slowly decide I want to sell merchandise, or I slowly decide to open up a food truck, doing little things here and there. If you do that successfully, if you hold a positive business account for 2 to 3, 4 years, most of the times the banks are going to come to you, right? How can the bank is going to come to you, right? And then when the bank comes to you, you're going to make a crap ton of money. I'm not a crap ton of money. The banks may come to you and say, hey, you know what? By the way, if you want to get a $20,000 business line of credit or $25,000 business line of credit, we're here to offer that to you after you have successfully made yourself. So you may be working a 9 to 5, you may be working a regular job. Go out and start the company now before you need it, right? It's like I have a 5-year plan, right? If I want to buy a company, I'm looking 5 years down the line. I'm not looking at today, right? I'm not looking at today. I'm looking at 5 years down the line where I want to be. What do I need to do to get there, or whatever? So you have to have the education. You got to have the network. You got to have the business plan. All those other great things, right? So that's what makes you start the company when you don't need it. So when you do need it, like Noah, he built the ark when he didn't need it. So when the flood did come, guess what? He had something to float off into. So you brought this company, and and what happened, right? You brought this company, you didn't need it, and then it floated off into the smithereens, right? So that's what I would say to get that business line of credit. You start a company first. You don't have to have all you need is a name and an LLC. You have places like directincorporation.com. I'm not sponsored by them or backing them up. They're just somebody I know that does good business. They will start your LLC for about $500. Now that you have the LLC, you go out and get an EIN, which they will help you do. An EIN is like a social security number for a person. It's a social security number for a business. Once you have that, you go out and once you have the EIN, you can open up a business bank account. You open up a business bank account. You put money into it. Maybe you may want to buy real estate. If you come up with a business plan and your counters around good enough, they may start to help you out, right? But most times they want to know how long has this business been around. Of course, they want you to have skin in the game. People come to me all the time, Prince, man, hey, all I need is your $10,000, man. This business is going to take off. As soon as they get your money, then you barely can find them. So companies want to do research on you. Now, back to the guy. I can't even say his name. Uslam, he said, why are you not popular? I learned something. Fame versus success. Growing up, I thought fame was success. I might do a whole episode on this. Okay, he says there are so many fake people out there talking about investing, but you're the realest I know on YouTube. Sorry for the interruption. Oh, thanks, man. UCB Slam. Okay, Slam. Okay. But no, man, I'm just talking real, right? So for prime example, I know plenty of celebrities, right? You've seen plenty of celebrities on the show. You've seen plenty of celebrities call in and talk to me on my podcast, things like that, right? Growing up, I thought fame was success. When somebody would come to my school or when somebody would show me something, they would be like, hey, look, this person is on TV, the radio, the magazines. They're successful. That's what I thought success was. What's going on, Miss Lorraine? But as I got older, I've had famous people that I grew up watching and seeing ask me, the regular Joe Blow, for money. Then I know people who are very wealthy, like the CEO of Red Robin's, for one person, people that's been on this show, that makes millions of dollars a year in salary. $3.2 million, that's their salary, and they're practically unknown. If I ask anybody in here, who is the CEO of Red Robin's, nobody knows. If I ask you, who is the CEO of Dairy Queen, nobody knows, right? But we know all of these athletes or celebrities or whatnot, or whatever the case may be, and they don't make a fraction or have a fraction of what these other people have. Or I know some successful investors, but they're just not known out into the outside of the financial world. So once I saw that, I said, wow, what do you want? Do you want the fame where people recognize you and whatever the case may be? And when I hang around these famous people and I've gotten to know them and we've done things together and I've been out to places with them, I see how their life is. Everybody's trying to take something from you. Everybody's got a great idea. Everybody wants to be around you. Everybody's trying to take something from you, right? But on the flip end, I look at these other people who I've gone to Walmart with and they're making millions of dollars. Nobody knows who they are. Nobody cares who they are. And I decided I want to be the person that is unknown, right?
I'm taking a deep breath.
Oh, this is Wesley. Tell everybody, hey Wesley.
Hey Wesley.
No, I said tell everybody, hey.
Hey.
But okay, he's doing a writing assignment. That's why he's bringing it down for me to check. But yeah, when she get it done, you can take a break. Take a break when she get it done, bring it back. So on the weekends, huh? No TV until you get that done, okay?
Okay.
So what I do is on the weekends, I make him write a page to me to work on his writing. So before he can watch TV. So he's out of school for spring break, but I make him write everything down. I may pick a line, I make him write to work on his writing or whatnot. But anyway, what we do is we tell people all the time, people equate fame to success. And it was a time in my life where I was chasing fame because I wasn't really chasing fame. I thought I was chasing success, and I thought fame was success. Then I realized fame is not success. I know a lot of famous people that are unsuccessful, right? And maybe a lot of them became famous because maybe they got drafted in the NBA, in the NFL. Maybe they was on TV for a little bit. Maybe they did, maybe they had a hit song at one time, a little music. But I've literally sat in these people's car, rode around with them, been to their house, things like that. And I noticed that was not the life I wanted. So I wanted the success through the fame. I want to be able to stop this when I get off this show. I want to be able to go to Dave & Buster's with my family and be unknown. That's the perfect position. I remember when people was talking about, oh, I want to date a football player. Prince, can you introduce me to one of your NBA friends or your NFL friends or whatever the case may be? And I tell them, I'm like, listen, why would you want an NFL? Go after the executive. Go after the person who's in the executive position. That's why that's why I asked Ms. Post to come onto my show, because I wanted to showcase, she's a woman. This is Women History Month. And she knows how to, not that she knows how to, she can make a great person to bring onto the show, as in, hey, I'm known, I'm behind the scenes. The money's behind the camera, not in front of the camera, right? Now, with me, my crazy story is kind of going with, I started doing it here in the basement years ago, and it just grew. Everything just kind of grew over time, and I just got to meet some cool people. But I know with myself, I'm not interested in fame, I'm not interested in fame. I mean, it's cool that people know you and things like that. And I show pictures and I do videos and things like that because it's a double-edged sword. I'm an author. I have books, right? I've written 2 books, and I'm in the process of finishing up my 3rd one, which will be out this summer. So I have to go on television to promote and market the book. I have to go on the radio. I have to use social media, right? So it's a necessary evil. Okay, do you think you can buy land and sit on it, wait till it grows in value, or is that a smart move? I think it's a very smart move. Why do I think it's a smart move? Because it's like this, right? I'm just going to be 100% honest, right? Let's take my dad, loving the life, 73 years old, the greatest male influence of my life, hands down, right? As of now, my dad owns 3 houses. Right, he owns 3 houses. He rents 2. He lives in the one that we grew up in. I got 3 older brothers. It was 4 of us. He was in the military and he was a school teacher, right? And he always tells us, he's like, hey, when I die, this is going to be y'all. He tells me and my brother, it's going to be y'all. When I die. That's when you die. That's when I can possibly. That's if I outlive you, right? So how does that relate to the land thing? You don't have to sit there and wait till the land is up in value. You can use the land as it's growing in value. For prime example, you can start a farm, right? You can build on it. You could live on it. You could drive an RV on it and live on it if you wanted to, as it is growing in value. You can grow corn and tomatoes and whatever the case may be. You can maybe, I don't know if you can Airbnb land, but maybe if somebody want to throw a big Woodstock festival on it, maybe you can rent it for that. So as it's growing in value, you can still utilize the land. I think that nobody else is making land. When you look at land that loses value, the only way land loses value is like a sinkhole hits it, a landfill builds on it, something crazy happens to it or whatnot. But at the end of the day, that's the only commodity. Well, it's not the only one. It's a commodity. It's like gold and silver or whatnot. To the best of my knowledge, we're not making any more gold, silver, and land. If this house that I'm in right now burns to the ground, they will clean this off, and by next year, if not by the end of this year, they can have a new one. Where are they doing that with land? So when I look at it, and I look at studying Buffett's philosophies and things like that, whereas in he was buying farms. And when he would buy these farms, he wasn't buying these farms so that it can grow in value later on. He said, hey, if all hell breaks out, nobody's buying land, I can still produce off of this land. I got cows and horses and chickens and ducks, and I'm growing things off of it, so it's still producing. I can eat off of this land. I can sell food off of this land. If it does, I can make money two ways. One, it is growing in value over time. Two, I can actually use it to produce something for me. So that's the two things I look at land. Hope I didn't go off on a tangent with the whole fame and success thing. That might have to be that might be my podcast for this week. But but those are things I learned in life and that I'm sharing with you guys or whatnot. But yeah. Okay. Very true. Amen. All right. Yes. So, and it's the most forgotten commodity that's out there. Gold, it's true gold. If the world ended, if Armageddon broke out right now, what I'm going to do with gold? Can I use it to brush my teeth? Can I use it to? No. I have to hope somebody buys something from it. I mean, what's really going to be the hottest commodity is a gun. But gold, what can I do with gold? It doesn't produce anything. If I brought a bunch of gold, it sits here on my table. I brought a bunch of gold. Good for me. The only way this gold has value to me personally, I'm not a scientist. I'm not an engineer, so I don't know how to use the gold. The only way it has value to me is if somebody's willing to buy it from me for a high price. That's the only value gold has, right? But with a piece of land, if push comes to shove, I lose everything in life. I'm divorced, my son's gone, blah, blah. I lose everything in life. I can at least go take a nap on my land, right? I can at least, take a nap on my land. I can at least rent me an RV or purchase an RV and drive up into the mountains and live on this land, right? But when you look at all the other commodities that are out there, this house burned down, they can make a new one. Where are they going to get the wood from? The wood is growing on somebody's land. So gold and silver and precious metals, heck, stocks. The market closes tomorrow. I have to wait till it opens back up for my portfolio to be worth something, right? I can't eat in the meantime at the market, like the market went down 400 points on Friday. I have to wait till it rebounds unless I'm collecting dividends, right? But with a hot commodity like a gold and silver and like even now they're putting cryptocurrencies in that arena, that does nothing for me until the market takes back up. The only other thing that does something like that is a house. It does do that. With the house, if I brought a house today for $400,000 and the next day the market collapsed, I can at least live in this house until the market rebounds, right? I can say, well, I'm gonna just stay in this house until the market rebounds, right? Or I'm gonna just hold on to this land and live on this land till the market rebounds. But same thing with stocks and things like that. But with the stocks, I can't use it. The silver, I can't use it. All these other commodities, I can't use, right? So real estate, I can use. The market collapse, push come to shove, I can live in the house. I can live on the land. That's the way I kind of think now. I can, push come to shove, I can go in my backyard and start a little farm and grow myself some tomatoes and veggies or whatnot, or whatever the case may be. I can utilize that, it'll keep the snow off me in the wintertime here in Colorado. So those are the things I look at, right? One second, let me respond back to this email. Y'all let me know if y'all got any questions. He said, "All right, good to hear from you and to hear your opinion. I gotta go to class, man. Have fun at class. Y'all have a good Saturday. I'm going to. I didn't open up the lines today. It says, see you with the CEO. Yeah, it all depends. I don't like to talk about things that are supposed to happen. I hate doing that. The only reason why I did that is, while I was talking to y'all, I got the message or whatnot. But I don't like doing those things because it all depends. Things happen. I may be sick. I may not want to do it or whatever the case may happen. So, that person may get sick, something comes up on their schedule. That happens all the time. So that's why you guys never see me talk about upcoming interviews. You just see them come up on the show because things happen all the time. Somebody gets sick, somebody changes their mind, somebody's schedule gets booked, my schedule may get booked. I mean, whatever the case may happen. So, but I don't like to talk about that. But if it happens, it happens. If it's cool, it's cool. We move on to the next show. So yeah, so that's my little concept. That's my little rant, and that's my opinions, and that's my thought process about buying land, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'm gonna hit on another thing. When you buy land for your kids, it's going to be a personal story. My family members may see this and say, "Prince, why you broke this up, whatever." So I had people in my family that supposedly left land to my parents and grandparents. My mother passed away. They said, "Hey, you and your brothers, y'all have this land. You have to pay the property tax on this land." So at that time, on the deed, our mother's name wasn't even on the deed. It was so many people's name on the deed. It was out in the middle of the nowhere. We didn't know where it was at. We was told we had the land. We didn't have the land. It was so much going on with it. So I decided to not pay the property tax. They said, if you don't pay the property tax, we're going to lose this land. I said, I don't even know what's going on with this. I don't even want it. My name is not on it. My mother's name is not on it. Somebody wanted to sell it. Somebody wanted to rent it. Somebody wanted to keep it. And it just turned into a debacle to where I just said, screw it. I'm not paying anything. I'm going to go buy my own land. So that leads me to the point for the parents out there. If you're going to buy land for your kids and you got 2, 3, 4 kids or nephews, don't put all their names on it and say, this is for y'all. Because guess what? Your kids are going to grow up. They're going to have wives, kids, girlfriends, boyfriends, or whatever the case may be. And they may have different thought processes of what they want to do with the land. Now, if me and my brother's name are on the land, one of my brothers said he wants to rent it. Another brother said he wants to live on it. Another brother wants to rent it. Another person wants to live on it. Another person wants to do all these other, good stuff or whatnot. Now just the land just sits there. My brother said he wants to rent it. My other brother said he wants to live on it. I say I just want my money out of it. Another brother said he wants to sell it. Okay, and then nothing ends up happening, right? So now the family doesn't pay the property tax. Well, since that's all going on, I'm not going to pay the property tax. You don't pay the property tax, then who knows what may happen, right? What you got, Wiz? So with that being said, to get around that, if you're going to leave something with your kids, give it to your kids, huh?
This is too long.
This is too long.
Yeah.
No, it's not too long. You got to write all of this. You write all of them before you watch TV, okay?
You mean this?
Come here, all those lines, you got to fill out all of them. All these little lines in between those blue lines, you got to copy all of that down. All right?
Okay.
Come here, Wes. What you tell everybody? What is insurance?
To protect assets.
To what?
To protect assets.
Say it loud.
To protect assets.
Protect assets. What is an asset?
Assets makes money.
Asset makes money. What is a liability?
Liability makes money.
What is a liability?
Liability loses money.
Liability loses money. Give me an example of an asset.
Asset makes money.
Is a house an asset?
Yes.
What is a liability?
House liability is a car.
A liability is a car, right? What is a stock?
Portion of their company.
Say it loud.
Portion of their company.
Portion of the company. What is a dividend?
Money paid to investors.
Money paid to investors. What is a bull and a bear?
Well, they don't go up.
Which one goes up?
The level.
The what?
The level.
Not no level. I said the bull or the bear. Which one goes up?
The bull.
Good job, man. Which one goes down?
The bear.
The bear.
Yeah.
Good job.
My tummy's hungry.
You hungry?
Yes.
What you want to eat? Cereal?
Or pancakes.
Okay.
Can I make my cook myself? Can I?
Of course you can't cook yourself no pancakes. I will once I get out of here, all right?
Okay.
So, anyway, back to the point. I kind of lost my train of thought there. Best education. Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate that sweet brain shot. Best education. My family's going through that right now with land and money. Exactly, right? My family went through that. They're like, Prince, if you don't pay this land, we're going to send a lawyer there and they're going to take all our land and our property tax. I'm like, you know what? Screw that. What I did for my son, when I purchased land, the only name that's on that land is me and his, right? If he grows up and something happens to him, then it's mine. If nothing happens to him, he becomes an adult, son, that is yours. If we were to have another child and I was to purchase them land, it's going to be me. And if I have a daughter, I want her name to be Princess, right? But anyway, if I had a daughter, her name was Princess, guess what? Her name is going to be on that particular land, right? So I will give the land straight to my child, straight to them. So when they grow up, it's theirs. It ain't nobody else's. So why buy 20 acres and put 4 people's name on it? No, this person needs this person needs that person needs that person needs that. Put the person's name directly on it. So that's what they get to do. Kids, good teaching. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate it. So, and then, but anyway, that's what you have to do. That's what Keish said for people who's here in playback. That's what you have to do. Put the person's name on it. My son, hey man, this is yours. If I had another child, this is going to be yours. So when they grow up and I die, or if they want to do something, it's just their name on it. So when it's time to buy, sell, trade the land, it's their name on it. It ain't, oh, our granddaddy, our uncle Prince. And then if I had another child right now for my book royalties and my royalties and things like that, right? It goes to my son, right? It goes to myself and my son, you know. But my buddy just texts me. Too many people, names, equity create problem. A lot of yes, exactly, Marine. You're 100% right. Why you put all these names on it? When you look at my deed, it's going to have 2 names, me and my son. The next deed, if I buy for my daughter, is me and my daughter. That's it. If I brought something for my niece and my nephew, it's me and my niece and nephew. The only reason I put my name on it, in case they die or something happens to them tragically, it comes back to me. But if I was to die or whatnot, I have the control over it. It's nobody but me and you. That's it. So if you decide you want to grow, sell it, spit on it, lay on it, whatever I'm giving you, it is yours. You don't have to worry about, well, I got to talk to my brother and my sister and my mom and my dad and things like that. And to be 100% honest, right? My wife, right? Today she has, we're married. We've been married coming in September. It'll be 10 years. But one day when I die, 2 years from then, she can be a Johnson, right? She does not have to be my wife. We could be divorced. I could die. She could be remarried. She is not guaranteed to be there, right? So, but my son I will always be his dad for the rest of his life, right? So, I'm not saying that you don't want your spouse to have anything, but you look at the bloodline first. And of course, if I was to die, if something was to happen to me, my family would be very well taken care of, right? They'll be taken care of through, the work that I've done throughout the years and that I continue to do and hope to do more. Insurance policies and investments and things like that. It should be in a nice position. So they're going to be taken care of. She's going to be taken care of regardless, right? Whether we're together or not, or we're dead or whatever the case may be. But my first priority, I have to take care of my bloodline because he's going to be my son for the rest of his life. But that's another thing. My family went through that. And I said, screw it. Y'all can have it. I'm not finna argue. I'm not finna decide who's going to pay the property tax, who's going to lose something or whatever. Because one person is mad because you won't sell it. The other person, but in the meantime, property taxes due. So when my son becomes 25, 30, and I give him the land, he don't pay the property taxes, he lose it, that's on him, right? If I had a daughter, a niece, or nephew, and I decide to get in the land, they keep the property taxes up, they decide to do something with the land, that's good for them, right? and they decide to live on it, that's good for them. So when you put all these people names on land, that's when all the bull crap breaks up, starts to happen. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here because I got to go feed my son. Nice talking to y'all. Hopefully y'all got something out of the whole land thing, right? The whole land and why I started purchasing land. And that's a big thing that I'm looking forward to. One of my biggest things was a scam piece. But hopefully y'all took something out of this. Hopefully y'all got something out of this. I definitely appreciate each and every person that tuned in, shares this, get a playback, all that other great stuff. But I'm going to try to do this more often so you guys can catch me. But I appreciate it, and I will see you guys on the next video, podcast, cartoons, all the other great stuff. Thank you guys for the support. Continue to support. Check the description box. It's a great show. Yes, definitely hit the description box. And y'all, I got a lot of things coming up, but I like to talk about new things coming up. Just stay tuned. So thank you guys for the support. Please keep supporting me. You guys are the ones that's keeping me moving. Keith said, thanks for the information. And if you caught it late, catch the playback, and you catch the whole thing of the whole discussion. But I'm going to try to do this every weekend when I get to sit down and talk to everybody and be more approachable. Thank you for your wisdom. God bless. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Peace. I'm out of here.